It all started in 2004 on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were electric together. The problem? Brad was still married to Jennifer Aniston. Rumors exploded. The affair became tabloid gold. Some called it betrayal, others called it fate. Either way, Brangelina was born, and Hollywood would never be the same. Suddenly, they were the couple, glamorous, powerful, and untouchable. But when love begins in controversy, does it ever truly settle? What seemed like a fairy tale start was already casting shadows. After nearly a decade together, Brad and Angie finally married in 2014 at their sprawling French estate, Château Miraval. It was quiet, personal, just their children and closest family. No paparazzi, no press invites. The kids even helped write the vows. It felt like the fairy tale ending fans had been waiting for. But behind the scenes, things weren't so simple. Just 2 years later, it would all start to unravel. And the castle where they said, "I do," would become the battlefield for their biggest war. Together, Brad and Angelina raised 6 children, 3 biological, 3 adopted. They often described their family as global, and parenting became central to their public image. Photos of them traveling, attending premieres with kids in tow, painted the picture of a modern, loving family. But raising 6 kids under constant media attention wasn't easy. Angelina took on the role of disciplinarian, while Brad was seen as the laid-back dad. Over time, those roles would clash. What the world saw was a beautiful blended family, but inside, pressure was building. In 2016, everything changed. Angelina Jolie filed for divorce, shocking the world. At the heart of the split, an incident on a private jet. Allegations surfaced of an altercation between Brad and one of their sons. The story was explosive. The FBI even launched an investigation. Though Brad was cleared, the damage was done. Angelina sought full custody. Suddenly, the perfect family image was shattered. The divorce wasn't just emotional, it was nuclear, and it marked the beginning of a bitter legal war that still rages today. The custody battle became the most contentious part of the split. Angelina pushed for full custody, claiming it was in the children's best interest. Brad fought back, demanding joint custody. The court proceedings dragged on for years. Private therapy sessions, child interviews, sealed documents. It was war behind closed doors. What was once a united front became fractured beyond repair. And all the while, the kids were caught in the middle of Hollywood's most painful divorce. The now infamous 2016 private jet incident became the turning point in the Pitt-Jolie breakup. Reports claimed Brad had a heated argument with their eldest son, Maddox. Angelina later filed court documents alleging physical and verbal abuse. The FBI and Child Services both investigated. Brad was cleared of charges, but public opinion began to split. Was he an aggressive father, or just a man pushed to his limits? The truth remains murky. But for Angelina, it was reason enough to leave. For Brad, it sparked a years-long fight to prove he was still a good father. Once private and protective, Brad and Angelina's split became incredibly public. Every court hearing, every leak, every custody request, it was all headline material. Angelina accused Brad of failing to pay meaningful child support. Brad's team said she was using the media to manipulate the case. Fans chose sides. Team Brad, Team Angelina. What had once been a golden romance was now a legal circus, and no one was winning, especially not the kids. The French estate where they married, Château Miraval, became a symbol of everything that went wrong. Once their dream home and business venture, it turned into a bitter financial dispute. In 2021, Angelina sold her share of the winery without Brad's consent. He sued, she countersued. The chateau that witnessed vows of forever became legal ammunition in their war. It wasn't just about wine anymore. It was about betrayal, control, and who got the last word. With their dirty laundry exposed, both stars used the media to sway the narrative. Brad gave emotional interviews about sobriety and fatherhood. Angelina shared essays in major outlets, subtly referencing her struggles. Insiders close to the couple popped up everywhere, each offering a different version of the truth. But fans weren't sure what to believe. Were they watching a custody case or a carefully orchestrated PR war? As the years went by, the children grew older. and some began to speak out in subtle ways. Maddox reportedly dropped Pitt from his last name. Zahara introduced herself at a college event using only Jolie. Though not confirmed publicly, these small actions sent shockwaves. Were the kids taking sides or just seeking their own identity? Brad, insiders say, was heartbroken. The once close bond with his children had eroded, and he was left trying to rebuild relationships quietly and from a distance. After the split, Brad Pitt went silent, then slowly re-emerged. In interviews, he opened up about addiction, therapy, and losing his family. He admitted to drinking too much and said he was working to change. It wasn't just PR. Friends said he was genuinely rebuilding his life. Brad even quit alcohol completely and started sculpting and meditating. This wasn't the Brad we knew from red carpets. This was a man trying to grow, trying to heal. But was it too late to fix the damage already done? While Brad focused on recovery, Angelina took charge of her kids, her career, and the narrative. She became more selective with roles, choosing work that aligned with her advocacy. Behind closed doors, she pushed hard in court. Legal filings hinted at proof and authority of Brad's behavior. She wasn't just fighting for custody, she was building a case. Some called her strategic, others said she was vindictive. But for Angie, this wasn't just about winning. It was about protecting the children she believed needed her more than ever. In a shocking twist, the judge overseeing their custody case was removed. Angelina's team argued he had undisclosed ties to Brad's lawyers. The court agreed. Years of hearings, testimonies, and progress, gone. Back to square one. Brad's team was furious, calling it a delay tactic. Angelina insisted it was about fairness. Either way, it set the custody fight back by months. For fans, it was another example of how messy, expensive, and personal this battle had become. Even justice seemed blurred in a case this emotionally loaded. Château Miraval wasn't just a home, it was a business empire. After the split, Brad continued developing the winery. Angelina, however, sold her share to a company connected to a Russian oligarch. Brad sued, accusing her of sabotaging the business. Angelina claimed she had every right. The winery became another battleground, complete with lawsuits, countersuits, and press statements. A place once filled with laughter and vows was now filled with legal fire. Wine turned into war, and the bitterness wasn't just in the grapes. As the case dragged on, public statements became weapons. Brad's reps released carefully worded responses, painting him as a victim of character assassination. Angelina's team fired back, citing sealed documents, emotional trauma, and control issues. The internet lit up. Every quote was analyzed. Every detail became clickbait. The courtroom became a stage, and the fans became jurors. It was no longer just about family. It was about who controlled the story and who would walk away with their legacy intact. Rumors swirled about secret tapes and sealed testimony. Angelina's legal team hinted at evidence never released to the public, suggesting emotional or physical abuse. Brad's lawyers said it was character assassination. The tapes were never leaked, but speculation ran wild online. Everyone had an opinion, and the case grew darker by the day. After years of love and war, they stopped speaking altogether. No texts, no meetings, just lawyers. The public, once obsessed with their chemistry, now witnessed a Cold War. Co-parenting became coordinated through assistance. What began on a movie set had ended in silence. And sometimes, silence says more than any headline ever could. The kids grew up, fast. Maddox went to college. Zahara joined a sorority. Pax and Shiloh stepped further from the spotlight. The youngest, Knox and Vivian, stayed close to Angelina. Rarely were they seen with Brad. Public signs showed distance, but no one really knows what happens behind closed doors. The world had moved on. So had they. In later interviews, Brad spoke softly about mistakes, pain, and rebuilding. He talked of sculpture, solitude, and trying to be a better man. No finger pointing, no scandals, just growth. It wasn't a Hollywood ending, but it was human. For once, Brad Pitt wasn't a movie star. He was a man who'd lost a family and was learning to live with it. Brangelina was never just a love story. It was fame, family, power, and fallout. From red carpets to courtrooms, they lived a life few could understand. What remains now are scattered headlines, unanswered questions, and two people living separate lives. The story is over, the scars remain, and Hollywood's golden couple became its greatest cautionary tale.